And we are live. Cueing up the theme song.
It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. Got a question for RL? Get some answers. Now we get real. Get down. You gonna feel good now.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, happiness specialist. That's right, you heard me. Rebecca L. Norrington. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner. I'm going to start the show a little bit differently since the last 15 years. I'm going to try to get right to the point. I watch a couple of YouTube hosts, and they get right to the point, and I tend to just go on and on and on. But back to the show. Reality, spirituality, happiness specialist. Question: can other people hurt your feelings? Can other people offend you? Can other people disappoint you? Do you blame other people for how you feel? Do you blame your circumstances for how you feel? There's nothing wrong with accomplishments, title, wealth, accolades, fame, trophies, awards, social media likes. But know that those things have absolutely nothing to do with happiness. And let me be very clear. When I talk about happiness, let me define it. This is my definition. The happiness is the ability to vibrate an energy of peace and contentment, regardless of what happens, and regardless of what doesn't happen. You know, those expectations. No, it is maintaining and sustaining a personal energy of peace and contentment. That's it. The good news is happiness, inner peace, contentment, all of them are practiced skills. So all I do is share what to practice. And in fact, my latest book, the book that was published last year, it's called Programmed for Unhappiness. It is on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors that have been proven to subtract from that vibration, that energy of happiness, contentment, peace. And forget the words. I'm talking about an energy. And everybody can feel. You can feel when you are either vibrating an energy of satisfaction or dissatisfaction in any moment. And how do you practice vibrating an energy of satisfaction and contentment? It's nothing to do with what happens. There's something to do with what's going on inside. And back to the questions. When I asked, do you blame, can other people disappoint you? I'm going to give you an answer to the test right now. Do you want to let go of all of your heartbreak and all of your disappointment for the rest of your life? Promise, guarantee, no more heartbreak, no more disappointment. Practice letting go. Practice eliminating all expectations. All expectations. Expectations are a program behavior. All of these programs that I mentioned in the book, Programmed for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, all of these behaviors are just programs. And when you learn something, it takes practice, dedication, focus, commitment, just like John Wick. He was a man of focus, commitment, and sheer will. And that's what it takes That is the practice I'm talking about. That is the practice I focus on, how to maintain and sustain that energy of contentment. Is it possible? The answer is yes, but with a lot of practice. Let me, how many of you out there get your buttons pushed? Buttons pushed, triggered. Can you imagine how life would feel, what life would be like if you were never triggered or buttons pushed again? Oh, what an achievement, what a goal, what an intention. And there is a way what to practice. This is something that I pulled up. I don't remember what site, but this is good. The only bird, listen to this one. The only bird that dares to attack an eagle is a crow, but the eagle never fights back. And here's why. The crow is the only bird bold enough to sit on the eagle's back and peck at its neck. That's irritating, relentless, annoying, but the eagle stays calm. The eagle doesn't flap. The eagle doesn't fight. And I believe there's some video on YouTube of this, the crow on the eagle. The eagle doesn't fight. The eagle doesn't waste energy. It just does one thing. It rises. It just flies higher and higher. And one of the questions that I love to ask the audience is, do you think an elephant is bothered by a fly? Do you think the elephant is bothered by a gnat? Do you think an elephant is bothered by an ant? Answer, 2 words. Hell no, the elephant isn't bothered by a gnat, unless it's in its eye, a gnat, an ant, a fly. And that is, I'm going to speak for myself, that is my practice, to grow, to get to another level of consciousness, another level of understanding, another level of awareness, another level of being the example of pure presence. I'm not going to be bothered by a gnat, a fly, or a bug, nothing. And so that is for me, that is the ultimate, is to rise above or to transcend these triggers or transcend these buttons. And all buttons, all triggers are based on the past. So number one, I already know that if I'm triggered, if I'm bothered, if I'm annoyed, if my buttons feel like they're pushed, I know that I'm in the past. I know that I'm in yesterday. I know that I am reacting to something that the mind and the ego just keeps reacting to. So it's my practice to transcend and to get to a place where, give it to me, whatever is bothering, whatever triggers, give me more of it. Oh, it's horrible. Give me more of it, universe. Give me more of it. So the higher the eagle soars, the thinner the air becomes. The crow cannot handle the altitude. Eventually, the crow gas loses strength and falls off, not because the eagle attacked it, but because the eagle ascended. Let the crows talk, let them peck. You don't have to respond. Just keep going higher. Just keep getting to another level. So the practice is practice of not engaging. The practice is a practice just to witness and to observe. The practice, the solution is to elevate, rise, transcend, and do it again. Elevate, rise, transcend, and do it again. Today's topic. I woke up to a post from a very dear friend, and his mother died. His mother died, and when I say had a relationship, I've never met her, but we had talked on the phone quite a few times. And you know how you meet some people and it's just an automatic, what's the word, Lord have mercy, compatibility. The energy just sinks together, and you're able to flow, and you're able to talk to them just on the first meeting. And this is who this woman was. I remember speaking to her probably, I would say at least 10 times, maybe a little bit more, could be less. But I just remember our conversations started off with 10 minutes and they gradually they always lasted longer. I remember it's 45 minutes, but this woman died the last couple of days, and it got me thinking, and this has been a topic that I've discussed before on this show. What would you do if you knew you only had a limited amount of time left? Let's just put a number. We could do 6 months, we could do 3 months, but what would you do? What would you change if you knew you only had 6 months left? What would you do to change? I mean, what would you change? Would you do anything different? That's another question. What would you do different? And if there is something that you could write out and say, I would do, I don't know, maybe 5 things different. My perspective is do it right now. Whatever you feel that is pressing, or yeah, I'll get to it. Know that it's a cliche, but tomorrow is not promised. And even more than that, getting down to what is valuable. What do you value? What do you think is important? One of the studies that I share every show, and you can Google it, it's called the 5 most common regrets of the dying. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. It's a very famous study. Maybe it was 20 years ago. I don't remember. Maybe longer. And so it was done by a hospice nurse. And she asked her patients, where is it? She asked her patients who had days to live, weeks to live, months to live. And in fact, I have another dear friend who is battling cancer. And breast cancer morphed into blood cancer, and it was a shock, unexpected, I can't even imagine, and it is a diagnosis that would stop let me speak for myself, would stop me in my tracks. And now what? I realize that a lot of people have had that diagnosis. And in fact, 2 of my friends, when I used to live in Roseburg, Oregon, were diagnosed with cancer, and each of them were given 6 months left. That's right. The bucket list is different for everyone. And so let me ask you, Jay, what would be on your bucket list if you would even have something on your bucket list? If you want to share it, what would be on your bucket list? But back to my 2 friends in Oregon, they were given 6 months to live. One was a woman and one was a man. One was, I called him Grizzly. And the other one was a woman, her name was Tina. And sure enough, within 6 months, one died 5 months and one died a little bit longer than 6 months. Both died. And both handled their diagnosis, both handled it differently. The woman who, I even dedicated this book to her. I dedicated this book to her because of the way she, I would say, gracefully handled her diagnosis. She left a husband. She was married, and her husband, she left a letter for her husband to find after her death, and she shared with me what she wrote. She said, I want him to keep living. I want him to find someone to go out with. And in fact, she left. It's like I was on the porch with her, and we had long talks. You really want to, I learned so much from people that they say 1 foot in, on the banana peel, and 1 foot in and out of life's inevitable inevitable experience. And it just, she left a letter for her husband, and with names to suggest who he should date, or who she thought would be a good match. Can you imagine? Going back to that porch, I couldn't believe what her perspective was. And I said, shit, I would love to adopt that saying. And in fact, I dedicated the book to her. May I read a little bit? Thank you. This book is dedicated to Tina. Oh, now, you know what? I don't think I could get through it. It's dedicated to Tina Diane Smith, who succumbed to brain and lung cancer a couple of years before this publication. Tina and I met in 2018 at the Sunset Bar in Roseburg, Oregon. I was singing and dancing to a song from the 80s playing on the jukebox when a woman sitting at a small table having lunch with her friends began singing along. At that moment, Tina and I, strangers at the time, formed a rare bond. She loved to eat crab, played with her cat Midnight, and smoked Camel cigarettes. But before the diagnosis, we shared long, intimate conversations. Let me just skip to this. The last time I saw Tina on the porch, I could sense a finality about our visit. Before I left, I held her face with my hands, and I just kept kissing her all over her forehead. I just kept kissing her. I had a feeling this was going to be our last visit. And she could sense it also. And then at the end, I said, Tina, I'm internally grateful for what you have taught me during our last moments together. Despite having only 6 months left to live, you showed me how to enjoy life with acceptance, humor, and grace, even while facing the final curtain. We're all going to get there. We just don't know when. And the question I ask to the audience is, what would you do different? Is there anything you would do differently? And it's beyond a bucket list, Jay. It's beyond going and climbing Mount Everest or what else? I can't. In fact, the bucket list was started by a billionaire. He's a billionaire now. His name is Ted Leonsis, LeonNSIS. And he survived a plane crash in 1993 or 1996. And he said, at that time, he survived it. And he says, I'm writing out a bucket list. And he even listed, I think it was 101 items that he wanted to achieve from his bucket list, but absolutely not one item on that list, not one that I can remember, would add to happiness, add to contentment, add to the peace that I talk about on this show. Not one. So the accomplishments are fine. In fact, I was listening to an interview with Tom Brady, and he said that one of his friends is a Formula One race car driver, and so he was able to drive one of the Formula One race cars. Come on, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And he kept talking about how exciting it was, how exhilarating, what an experience. Wow, a lot of wow. And then after the wow, after he got out of the car, you still have to be Tom Brady. You still have to journey through the life. And I promise you, I get it. These moments of doing something, or I'm trying to think of what mine would be. It's usually travel, going to a place where I would feel that I would want to see, and the list is limited even more now. So let's see, going to the Galapagos Islands, going back to Iceland. What else? As far as on the list, I think that's it. But what would I do if I did only have 6 months left? And the only thing that I would change, scratch that, I don't know if it's the only thing, but the only thing that I can think of right now that I would change is being in the presence of people that I love and care about a little bit more than I am now, because we live in separate states. Just being around people that I love and care about. But the other thing is just being funny, out there, just soaking it all in and sitting. And you know what? It's not even about doing more. For me, it would be more appreciating, more in awe, more just staring at the leaves on a tree. That's a little corny, but it's just practicing being more entrenched in, being more involved with the present moment, soaking it in, drinking the present moment up, drinking it up, sopping it up, experiencing it, and just being just soaking it in more, if that's even possible, and being in that state more often. That would be it. There's meeting someone. If I could meet one person on this planet, I would like to meet Moji. I've talked about Moji before. You can search him on YouTube. It's spelled, I'm looking at my neighbor across the street. It's spelled Moojiji. He's a spiritual teacher. I believe he's a little bit older, maybe in his 70s. I would love to meet him. And that's about it. Moji. Would I meet anyone else? I would, I could throw in Eckhart Tolle. I would, yeah, but I don't have gotta meet Eckhart Tolle. No offense. Learned a lot from Eckhart Tolle, but no, it would have to be Moji. Eckhart Tolle has a good sense of humor too. Moji has a sense of fun, just a little mischief, funny. Eckhart has that sense, but that would be it. I don't know how I got off on that tangent. Let me look at my notes. So asking you, and Jay, did you come up with an answer? Do things with no regrets. Now, this thing about regrets. Having a regret, or even believing in, you hear what I'm saying? Even believing that there is such a thing called a regret. That's just another programmed thought. That's just another programmed activity, programmed thought. There is no such thing as regret in the universe. That's all human. That's all coming from the mind. And let me hit you with this one, Jay. I've said this a million times on this show. And I remember when my friend told me, he says, everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you, whatever comes out of you, whatever the experience, give yourself an A+. Not an A-, not a B+, an A+. And that's with everything. There is no such thing as a regret. That is a program belief. That is a program that's running in 98% of the population. Regret. And that even includes, listen to this one, and that even includes food. Why did I throw that in? There used to be a time where, I mean, listen, I know what's healthy. Fried foods isn't good. French fries, hamburger, no. Pizza, no. But can you imagine eating pizza, French fries? What did I have the other day? It was so bad. It was so greasy. This is so bad. When the grease spills out into the paper bag, you know that's bad. When the grease is in the paper bag, even before you eat it, even before you eat the hamburger, the grease is, in fact, that may be what I want to have for lunch. Now, I've been bad for the last few days. I need to get back to my smoothies. But there's no regrets. No regrets, no feeling bad, no criticizing, but that's practice. And that having a regret, oh, I wish, is all bull crap, and it's all based on a program. When I said there's 56 program behaviors in this book, I'm sure there's regret is in there. In fact, I don't even want to look at that because it may take a little bit longer. Let me see on my short list. So there's 56 program behaviors that subtract from your happiness. Level 1, level 2, level 3. Let me see. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Jay. Level 3. Level 3 on the list. What is this? Number 13 on level 3. So level 1, that's for civilians. Everybody knows that if you're complaining, you're subtracting from your happiness. If you are impatient, you're subtracting from happiness. If you're rushing, if you talk negatively about someone else, if you try to control something other than yourself, if you are comparing yourself to someone else, everyone knows that. All you civilians know that that's subtracting from happiness. But this is level 3, J, having regrets. It's another program. Can you imagine living with an empty head? And when I say empty head, as I haven't not managed to have this head empty. But what does go through here, the thoughts that do go through, the stories that do happen, in and out. They're just like clouds floating by. Oh, another negative thought. Oh, another regret. Oh, and it's the practices to witness it all. Back to the topic. What if you only had 6 months left? And if there is something that you would do differently, if there is something that you would want to experience, the time is now, baby. The time is now. Did I tell you I'm 70 years old? 70. The time is now, which reminds me of a story that happened on Friday. I made plans with my niece. I have a couple of nieces here. And this particular woman who is just, listen, this is just who she is. And that's another thing, accepting people for who they are. No shade, no judgment, but it is very important to know your audience. And especially if they're family or especially if they're friends and you know them, knowing your audience keeps you aligned with the ability to create peace as opposed to drama. And the piece is, let me say this, I am the only one in my little community here that has the ability to keep the peace or to even design peace or to even create peace. These civilians, because this isn't their path, this isn't their This isn't this isn't what they're studying. It's something else. It's just something different. We had a lunch date Friday, 11 o'clock. We're meeting right after I finished teaching the fitness classes. I get out at 10:30. I had plenty of time. 10:30, we're supposed to meet at 11 o'clock. Well, 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes before 11, I get a text and it says, hold on a second, what does this text say? I have to do this right. Verbatim. Here we go. Okay, yeah, where was this? Okay, here we go. I get a text running 30 minutes behind. Running 30 minutes behind. And then my instant text back was, let's reschedule. I have an appointment. That particular day, I had something to do after the lunch. I mean, it was a day of appointments. And so I was kind of short on time. But even if I wasn't short on time, even if I had the whole day, 30 minutes of waiting. There are very few people that I would wait for 30 minutes. And this wasn't happening. This was not going to happen. So I said, let's reschedule. We have to reschedule lunch. I don't have 30 minutes to wait. And I was talking to someone at the gym and they said, I couldn't do that because I said, let's reschedule. And I was done. No conversation. I'm not going to go back and forth as to why. 30 minutes at 70 years old, I get to choose how I want to spend time. Scratch that. Because sometimes I don't get to choose how I want to spend my time. But on this particular day, I got to choose how I wanted to spend my time. And I was not going to spend my time waiting for somebody. And this gentleman, this was just today, this gentleman at the gym, he says, wow, I couldn't do that. If somebody said they're going to be late, I would just wait for them. I'm not saying to be like me or to respond like me, but just to know that you have the ability to say, I'm not going to wait. It's not personal. It's not, the intention isn't personal. It says, I'm not going to wait for somebody for 30 minutes. I don't even know. Well, that's not true because now I'm trying to do some future predictions, which is not in the moment. But how do I choose to spend my time is becoming more and more valuable and important. And it starts with being very honest with self. It's not about being honest with other people. Sorry, did I say that out loud? It's not about being honest with others because other people, these people, when I say these people, even if we use the same word, other people have a different interpretation, a different way of thinking about a word. Even if I use the word respect, which is another program word, don't get me started on that. But even if I use the word, other people have a different sense of what that means to them. And if someone says that they love me, if someone claims to love me and I say, hey, I'm not waiting, we're going to reschedule. And if they have an issue or they want to go back and forth, well, why didn't you? And you could have amscray, opposite direction. And this is why if the 6 months, if you only had 6 months left, how would you want every day to unfold? And only you can answer that, just like you said, Jay. Only, people have their own, I say we are as different as our fingerprints, and you have your own way of looking at all situations. And what's important to someone else, what's important to you, may not be important to me. In fact, for most of the time, is not important to me. And is that okay? Are you able to accept what's important to someone else is not going to be important to you? Get good with God. That's right. It is the relationship. The relationship is with God, the universe, source, higher power, whatever you want to call it. That is the ultimate. That is the relationship that I practice nurturing. These other people, these humans, they're so cute, but they're very flawed. Flawed meaning, unless someone is constantly conscious, self-aware, is on this journey of, say, improvement, self-aware, elevating consciousness, transcending yesterday, transcending behaviors, transcending transcending conversation. In other words, being something different than you were yesterday, doing something different than I would have done yesterday. And in fact, I have to say, if you've listened to me, you know that what used to held me captive. Oh, every single time. 99.9% of the time. You asked me a stupid question. Hey, how are you? How's your day going? What are you doing over the weekend? Anything fun over the weekend? What did you do this weekend? Did you do anything fun? Those kind of questions, those kind of program questions would send me through the roof. Doesn't it sound goofy? It sounds, who knows how it sounds? It may sound trivial, but these buttons are personal to moi. And I have to say, I asked for more, and the universe has finally graced me. I think I said it last week or the week before. The universe has finally graced me with, give me another stupid question. Give me another question. And let me answer it with the calm and the peace that God would answer it. And finally, after all of these years, I'm able to sail through it with a smile, without the, oh God, what is the question? And I look forward to talking about if I only had 6 months left. I look forward to transcending even more ego behaviors that are resistant to peace, that are resistant to peace. The mind does not want to eat, drink, or even digest peace. Have you noticed that? The mind isn't about peace. The mind isn't about contentment. The mind isn't about ease. The mind isn't about balance. There's always a conflict. And if you notice, when you notice that, there is nothing calming that the mind has to say. Nothing. So this is what it is. That's the audience. The mind is I am not relying. Uh-oh. Excuse me. You know, I brought my water. There it is. You know what happens? I close the door for the sound, and I got candles going, and I got smoke, and the smoke from the candles, and I got all choked up. I know. Smokeless candles. Next week. So back to the if you only had 6 months left. My ask, my intention, my agenda would be more peace. Give me more peace to consume. Give me more peace to give me more peace all the way until I breathe my last breath. That would be it. That would be my ask. More peace. Okay, scratch that. I have more. More peace, more fun, more laughing, more present moment. Repeat. And that would be it. More appreciation, more peace, more fun, more laughing, more acceptance. That's it. The laughing and the making other people laugh is high on the list. I can't think of, I mean, that's the ultimate. And I mean laughing so hard that a diaper could be used or I pee on myself. Yeah, the laughter. It is the ultimate. My girlfriends are coming to visit at the end of February, and that's all we do. Scratch, that's not all we do, but that's a lot of what we do. And let me ask you this. Think about the closest relationship that you have. The closest relationship, whoever it is, whether it's whatever, relative, friend, the closest relationship. What do you do most? What do you do most in the relationship? Is it, what is it? What is it? Well, I have to say that my best friend, what we do the most is laugh. Laugh. I make fun of him. He makes fun of me. It's beyond. Laughing. Enjoying the moment. Finding something goofy, silly, crazy to talk about. And I don't know, for me, I think for me, and I want to ask you, my dear audience, what are you drawn to? What kind of relationship are you drawn to? I mean, it could be cerebral. We do talk a lot of spiritual stuff. Come on, we do talk a lot of yeah, a lot of spiritual, which is great, but the laughing, the laughing from the goofy slapstick. It has always been an underlining factor. Well, I'm drawn to it, and it's just this. Let me give you an example. At the gym, now remind you, I'm with all these seniors. At the gym, there's this gentleman. He's a tall guy. He used to play basketball, and he likes to wear his socks. Lord have mercy. He wears white socks, and they're pulled up to the middle of his shin. you know, like in old school basketball, pulled up to the middle of his shin. So it's the socks land between his knee and his ankle. White socks. And then there's another gentleman at the gym, and he pushes his socks all the way down. So they're scrunched down. Like back in the day, back in the 80s, when you use the, you know, you would get those leg warmers. So they're scrunched down. So I, being the mischievous person I am, and by the way, the laughter, if I think something's funny, that's enough. You don't have to think it's funny. In fact, it's even funnier if you don't think it's funny, and I do. Okay, back to the story. So the gentleman that has his socks pulled up, inevitably, I just discovered this a couple of weeks ago. When he least suspects it, bend over and I push his socks down. And oh, the reaction. Oh, it's like I shot him in the arm. My socks are down. Oh God, my socks. And instantly he has to pull the socks up. And of course, while he pulls that sock up, I pull the other one down. And the other gentleman that has the socks pushed all the way down, well, of course, the only way those socks can go is up. So I pull the socks up. That's what I'm talking about. Fun, funny. That's it. Come on. And I would just say more. I would double down on all of that. I would double down on more fun, more laughing, more funny. Just that would be it. However, seriously, 6 months left. I would ask the universe for more peace, more acceptance, more laughs. What would you ask? What would you want? What would you want to have? Get good with God. And what does that mean, Jade? Get good with God. What does that mean? How do you do that? Because God is you're always good with God. That's not a future achievement or future want or desire. You're always good with God, Jay. Always. Give me a time when you're not good with God. You see how the mind has thoughts of, gotta get good with God. No, you don't. You're already good with God. Stamp. If I had a, here, let me anoint you. You're already good with God. How's that? No regrets. There's no such thing. That's a program. That's a program belief. What else? 6 months left. You know what I would, who knows what I would do, but I wouldn't sell the house and move somewhere else and move closer to my son and my best friend. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know what I do, but I'm telling you right now, I would ask for more peace. Just give me more peace than I have now. And I have a lot now, but I would even want more. How's that? Maybe a trip back to Iceland, maybe a trip to Galapagos. Meh. Oh, Alaska. Never been to Alaska. Maybe a trip to Alaska. Meh. But the most, what I would really value is just having more peace. Yep, that would be it. How about you? Put it in the chat. You know, turn close friends. And so, yeah, meaningful. So what is meaningful? Let's get back to this meaning thing, which is really interesting. It's a really interesting concept. Because what was meaningful years ago is not meaningful anymore. What has meaning? Is there even such a thing that's so meaningful? Yeah, it's meaningful to the mind. It's meaningful to hear. Meaningful? What's meaningful in nature? What's meaningful to the animals? what's meaningful in the universe. You see how the program concepts just hit. Not even a realization, oh, that's another program. Because quite frankly, what I heard from this gentleman, his name is Daryl Anka, and he's a channel for Barsha. I think it's Bashar. Is it Bashar? I think it's Bashar. And he hit me with a video at least a couple of years ago. It's all meaningless anyway. It's all meaningless. Thanks. But it's the truth. This shit is all meaningless. Find some meaning. Find some meaning. Find some meaning. What does that even mean? And when I'm shaking my head, the truth is it's all meaningless anyway. This shit is all meaningless. One word. Thanks. Okay. Meaningless. Yeah, I get it. I get it. All right, well, I answered your statements, Jay. Get good with God. You're already good with God. There's no such thing as a program thought. It's all this future crap, too. The mind wants you in the future, and the mind wants you in the past or in the future. How about in the moment? You're already good with God. Do things with no regrets. There's no such thing. This program belief that, yes, I regret. There's no such thing as regret. Regret is a program. Believing there's a mistake is a program. And it is eliminating all program thoughts, all program behaviors. When I say eliminating the program thoughts, not that I can eliminate the program thoughts, but I definitely can respond to them and witness them as opposed to identifying with them. And that's all I got for today's show. Anyone want to make a comment or a question in the chat? One of these days, it's gonna be soon. Well, I don't know when it's gonna be, but one of these days, this is gonna be a setup where I'm going to have people to call in with their questions, comments, and also questions in the chat. But it's not today. But that's coming up. That's what I can feel. But guess what? If that doesn't happen, I'm good with that too. Just looking at my notes. Oh, so back to this woman that I just found out a couple of days ago that she died. One of the things that people say when someone dies is it's such a program statement. It's sorry for your loss. It is, I lost. They and people don't say they died. Usually people say they passed, or sorry for you. Rest in peace. Sorry for your loss is such a program, and it's the program belief to think that when somebody dies that is close, someone dies in my life that's close. Oh, I lost them. No, I didn't lose them. I didn't lose them. Death is change. This loss is a program. Okay, let's see. Have a great, grateful day. Give Podbean a try for calling INS. You know, such codes, I don't understand. Have a grateful day. Give Podbean. I can't imagine what you are going through. Oh, yes, that's another program. Program statement. I can't imagine what you're going through. Sympathy. Well, you know, I don't react to people. in the same way that most program people. I never say sorry. I just say focus on the memories that make you smile. Focus on the memories that make you feel the bond, that kind of thing. But sorry for your loss. I'm not going to do that. Can't imagine what you're going through. Yeah, that's another one. Can't imagine what you're going through. Well, you know what? I really can't imagine, because especially when you're programmed, it is hard for me to imagine being so stuck. We talked about this last week, being so stuck and being in a prison cell, that I can't even come out of this closet thinking a different way. I'm stuck in this closet thinking, behaving, responding in the only way that I can, and that's the way of the program. Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you. I will definitely check that out. Yeah, that Blog Talk Radio, and that was, God, it was what, 12 years, 13, 14 years, and now it's gone, and I just haven't been looking at diligently, to be honest. But yes, I do want another platform. Podbean. Thank you, Jay. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay. Jay, what would, if you want to share, what would you do? Oh, you already said. Get good with God. We already said you're already good with God. Do things with no regrets. We can start doing that right now. Regret nothing. Now I'm just going over and over. I'm just repeating myself like a parrot. All right. Well, that's the end of today's show. Hold on. That is the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And visit my website at RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on X at RLNorrington. LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. YouTube channel, boy, oh boy, it's growing. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button, subscribe. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, was published in 2014, decades ago, ages ago. Oh gosh, it was so long ago. And Jay, you were with me. And now my latest book, Program for Unhappiness. In this book, I list 56 program behaviors, exposing the untold truth. And I also list 26 behaviors that will add to experiencing more happiness and contentment. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. Your conscious energy having a human experience, and all this shit is meaningless. You're always growing, always changing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. And remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist, Rebecca Norrington, and I. And remember, happiness, contentment, inner peace are all practice skills. I promise you, the more you practice, you will reflect what you practice. Have a conscious week. Thank you for listening. I gotta cue up my own theme song. Hold on a second. Let me cue up the theme song. Oh gosh. One of these days I'll have a studio. I have to put in my password. You know what my password is? My password is Surrender Trust. That's my password. Surrender Trust 2019 ! So if we're ever in the same area, and I have my new, well, it's not new, my refurbished MacBook, that's the password, Surrender Trust. trust. 2019, exclamation point. And I'm just queuing up the theme song. And of course, I typed it in and it ain't working. Beep, 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 beep. Queuing theme song.
It's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your ears open.
My back hurts. I gotta go to the chiropractor tomorrow.
It's time to get some answers, baby. Now we get real. Get down. It's gonna feel good now.